If you don't have any guilt about anything,
We call that a sociopath.
right, you're a sociopath or you haven't left your room yet. You
Right.
should get out in the world more.
Clear to this incident. Lieutenant Mitchell is restored to flight status without further delay.
It's about handling guilt and loss. So Maverick feels guilt for Goose's death despite being cleared by a Navy panel. And it makes him question his abilities and brings his insecurities to the surface. And personally, I feel, I'm not the only person who feels this way by probably several billion on the planet, but guilt can be healthy in certain doses and destructive is that if that dose is too high.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Because that can be your conscience speaking. When you feel guilt.
Right.
Because you're going to mess up, you're going to make mistakes, you're going to hurt people's feelings, you're going to step on toes, you're going to really mess things up.
It's all
you're
part
to
of being
clean
human.
it up. And guilt is such a fine line because it can really help you, drive you to rectify things and atone for things and make amends for things and learn, I'm not going to do that again because I hate that feeling and I don't want to do that to people. Or if you carry too much of it and you let it run quietly in the back of your mind and it becomes a weight that gets heavier and heavier and heavier. And then, after a few years, you're depressed and you don't know why.
Yeah.
But you've let something quietly run in the background that should have been addressed and taken care of.
It's a very delicate balance. You're absolutely right.
It is. And
Too
so
much of it and it can really...
And for sure. And that hit me more than anything else emotionally in this movie was you make a mistake, your co-pilot dies. Granted, it was a freak accident, but how do you face his wife?
Right. That scene is so gutting.
That scene
Yeah,
is
tough.
gutting. It was one of the few times in the movie that I really tried to put myself in Maverick's shoes.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a complex emotion. And I've heard from prisoners or people who are just released from prison that that's a massive part of it is being able to allow yourself to move on and forgive yourself for what crime or whatever it was that you committed. You have to forgive yourself. You have to be able to move on. Otherwise, it's just a black, empty hole.
Mitchell, I'm sorry about Goose.
Maverick was haunted by the mysterious death of his father, who also flew fighter jets for the Navy, and it drove him, but it fucked him up too.
Yeah, he disappeared. His dad disappeared, right?
His dad
During a mission?
disappeared, and he was never told what happened. It was classified or top secret, so he didn't know, but assumed it was something bad. And so he was, living in the shadow of his father, and it drove probably his cockiness, potentially his recklessness.
Yeah, and there was a real sense of people in the film knowing, like other characters knowing about it as well.
Exactly.
And almost using it against him. It was like, yeah, you're just like your old man. Like,
except for one. I don't think Viper, I don't think the big guy was completely holding it against him.
Viper's such a
Tom
good call
Skerritt.
sign.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a fucking great call
That
sign.
is a good one. I don't know. Have you ever felt any kind of legacy pressure before?
Nobody in my family has a legacy, so no. The answer is the short answer to that question. I mean, I do. There is a sense of trying to live up to the person that my father is. Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if I would call that legacy.
I think it does qualify. It's legacy adjacent, if not right on there.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I've said it on the podcast before, but my dad was so high functioning, high achieving. Still, of course, yeah, to this day, and never dropped the ball, never made a mistake, never stepped a foot wrong.
How could you
As
not
a
feel
kid.
pressure from that?
So there was
How could
such
you
a.
not?
I was like, oh my God, I can't make a mistake. I can't. Otherwise, I'm not.
Well, then you know exactly what Maverick's talking about.
Sure, I know. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. It definitely fueled a lot of my desire to be perfect.
Yeah.
And to strive for
Totally-
perfection and
totally
to not
get that.
put a wrong foot. I mean, now obviously as an adult, I can look at my father and I see his flaws, and he's a human.
Yeah.
He makes mistakes, but as a kid, it really fucked me up.
Well, understandable, because you can't put that into context. You don't have the adult kind of savvy and nuance to put something like that into perspective.
Totally. What about you? Do you feel like that?
I did. Funny, I didn't think of this until just this moment as we're talking about it. You talk about your dad. I'm the youngest of 5 kids. And my siblings before me, a very different group of skill sets. But for the teachers who remembered the previous 4, they had really high expectations of me.
Oh, okay.
Really smart, great athlete,
Yeah,
very sociable.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, a Parente, huh? And it's like, ooh, right away, I really could feel it. Particularly,
We've talked about this before.
Yeah. My oldest brother had world-class sprinting speed. He was a bit of a freak of nature. And the coaches who remembered him saw my name and they're like, oh, wonder if we're going to have another one of these, which they didn't.
But so you felt that pressure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And that affected you a lot because we've talked about it
did.
on the podcast before.
And there were even teachers who remembered one of my brothers who got in a bit of trouble. And they're like, oh, he's going to be a troublemaker. It's like, oh, Christ, which I was. But still, they didn't it wasn't a clean slate of trouble that I could make. It was already preloaded. But
that's interesting.
But yeah, I definitely did feel that.
That makes sense.
So if you're still with us, hey, thank you so much for joining us today. And remember, as always, you're the main character of your own life. So don't be afraid to take a step back and look at the bigger picture, because sometimes the answers that you've been looking for are lying just beyond the frame. We'll see you next time. Peace.